the only way out. Regime change, that is obvious, it will happen. However, if people track our message as we have been disseminating it over and over, which we will not stop, because we know that's the honest way we can get a solution to the mess in which we are, is that we have to prepare. Keep reaching out to Ugandans who are sane, Ugandans who believe in integrity in governance, Ugandans who believe in transparency, in equal opportunities, in equality before the law, in fairness, in building an economy that enables all Ugandans in whatever walks of life, in whatever endeavors they are in, whether in agriculture, whether in industries, manufacturing industries, whether in the services industries, whether in transportation, whatever they are, to have an environment in which they can prosper, which is not the case now, basically because of leaders who don't care about people. So to change that, there must be people who care about people and who care about the country. That's the only way. There's no party which will change this country unless it fulfills that formula. That's the only formula that can work. We don't own it, we don't control it, which basically means that whichever party succeeds first in building a critical number of leaders whose thinking and actions are consistent with care for people, care for the country, that's the only way you can change this country. No other way. Whenever Ugandans who are frustrated, who have lost hope, you need to recover hope. Even those who didn't vote in 2021, because people say, this thing can't work. But life is like that. It's like people who are in business. You try business, it goes down. You don't give up. You try again, you try again. Some people succeed second, third, fourth time. Until people look for money until they get, out of this life. Same thing must be for politics. There's no way this country can change. There's no way we can shape the future to be better than what it is, unless we have men and women of integrity who come into politics. And we invite all Ugandans who believe that the only way you can change the trajectory of politics and put it on the right track, it must be by getting people who are honest, men and women, and we invite them in Alliance for National Transformation. Those who may, for whatever reason, not be able to join ANT, get any other party that you believe in, but build a critical number there so that you become the dominant force. Because no party is going to change this country unless the dominant force inside that party is of those people who think alike, who act in concert in terms of building a strong foundation for good governance. There is no other way. General Museveni is going to leave this country in a big, big problem. Those candidates whom you saw who are running in NRM, quietly talk to them, or get people who can do research. You'll most likely find that those who run on that ticket, out of 10, 7 or 8 don't even believe in NRM. But they went there because they just want to get into positions. So the question we keep asking ourselves, if shepherds abandon the flock, the sheep, what happens if the sheep are left in the field? Wolves will eat the sheep. So when you see the breakdown of leaders, as is clearly seen, people abandoning people, joining the NRM even when they don't believe in it. And the main reason is that that's the only way they can go through to get into power. So you get through, all right, but you don't change anything, as we have noticed. The last parliament, look at the last parliament, what it did. The majority were NRM, 300 plus. Did they have any positive impact? Nothing. Being bought there, paid to legislate, imagine. And beyond leaders, the breakdown of the population itself. Look at the primaries which were going on in NRM. People, when you humiliate people to that point, where people will just fall for crumbs, literally, crumbs, it shows you the level at which we are as a country. Because the country is not made out of the physical things we see, buildings, rail, roads, dams, electricity and all that. The country is people. And the strength of the country is dependent on the strength of the people. When people are weak, the country certainly would be weak. When people are strong, that country would be strong. That's one of the areas that we keep focused on. We know, yes, that infrastructure is required, without doubt, because people must feed, they must get health services, they must get education, they must get jobs, they must prosper in industry and all that. But the most critical thing is the recovery of the self-worth of our people. That's going to be the toughest area. You can build a road when you have honest men and women disciplined to apply resources which we get from taxes and build roads all over this country in a very short period of time. Our main concentration is how do you recover the sense of self-worth of our people? To us, it is the most critical thing. You know, General Museveni has systematically broken our people completely. Target leaders, compromise them, as they say, when shepherds abandon their flock, the sheep scatter. That's what's happening here in this country. So let me thank you again for coming to cover this event. Based on us exploiting the opportunities that there are and work on possibilities of fielding one candidate at all levels, right from councillors down LC3 up to the presidential flag bearer. Yes.
And in that case, General, if you ask to step down for the other candidate, will that go well with you as aunt?
Most Ugandans who have tracked me in politics would know that. At least I have practiced a number of times.
Yes. That's also with your engagements with other parties, because you said you're still engaging them.
Yeah, we agreed that let's first finish implementation of our MOU and then jointly make the next step. And the other party that we are looking to engage in consultations with is the National Unity Platform. And should that succeed, then three can now agree on which other to bring on board. That's the way we have chosen to move.
Even the joint candidature to cut across?
With the PFF, that's the agreement. With other parties, we don't have to agree on everything. It depends on which parties, because there are a number of issues. There are parties which possibly may say, okay, that's an area that we should not work on, which is okay with us, even if we don't work together on fielding joint candidates. But we can work together, for example, in influencing the electoral process, how we engage with the Electoral Commission. Two, manage communications. Because another thing we think that is very, very critical for the opposition parties is to create an environment where we are not attacking each other. We have to organize an onslaught against the regime. So when we manage that, and the population recognizes that we are all focused on ousting the regime, that we are not competitors, but we want joint effort, even if we don't have single candidates, to see how to overwhelm the regime. We think that that helps in recovering hope in the population and also influencing the state of hopelessness that there is in the population and frustration. Once they see us handling issues, which are literally issues of life and death, in a mature way. So managing communication is another aspect we can work together with other parties. And there are also other aspects, for example, like in vote protection. Because, for example, we have got 35,000 polling stations. Possibly they may increase this time round. So it would be logical that where three parties are, they coordinate effort. Where there are only two, in case you are three, then the two can use the infrastructure even to protect the vote for the third. Or where you are 3 and then only 1 is in a particular area, the 1 can organize the infrastructure for protecting votes for the third. It's the most logical. And once there is discipline and focus on the main objectives, to us, we don't think it's something very difficult to achieve. Now, in the past, there are errors which were made, because there always contestation between these two approaches. And in my own estimation, that's why there was failure in the last 3 attempts, because the focus was on agreeing on everything. Some of us then, as we think now, was no, you don't have to agree 100%. If you have 5 issues and agree only on 2, work on the 2. But also manage yourself in such a way that the 3 where you have not agreed and are pursued differently by the different parties, create mechanisms for not conflicting over the 3 which you have not agreed upon, but pursue the 2 jointly. Or if you agree on 3, work together on the 3, let the 2 be pursued by the different entities. It's the most logical thing. So it just simply requires discipline and focus, and we'll be able to achieve it. And considering really the chaos that is in this country, the levels of frustration of the population, it is worth attempting. You succeed, you thank God. You don't succeed, you don't blame yourself, because you'd have tried. So that's the way we keep moving. I mean, the levels of desperation are quite frightening in this country when you look at people. Look at the primaries of NRM. Inside the ruling party itself, the levels of frustration. In some areas, people died. And the state is like absent. You know? Because when you give up on something that you want to achieve, then you never know when it works. But when you persist and you keep at it, on and on, there's a point when you'll be able to make a breakthrough. You can see this in all areas of life. Those who are in sports, I can tell those people who get gold medals in the different events, the kind of work and effort and sacrifices they make to achieve that gold or silver or bronze is huge. For 5 years, those who go for Olympics. Businesses. If you talk to people who are in business, those who are now so rich in town, those who have malls and all that, if they tell you their stories where they came from, those who gave up stopped wherever they had reached. Those who persist eventually become what you see in town. So is it even in politics. Even in the military, those who fight, I mean, the military is even worse, because in the military you are losing people. People die, you bury them. Others are maimed, but you keep fighting until you achieve objective. You achieve your own objectives. So what about politics? Because even when you don't make it, you expose. When you expose those who are doing wrong, it strengthens you, it weakens them. So it continues as a continuous process until a point when you build an adequate number of people that is overwhelming. And then you can change the system. So exposure is very, very important. Otherwise, we would so simply give up, because we know what the regime is, we know the psychology, the Electoral Commission. Once it's not able to do the reforms and Parliament, then people get to know that, okay, we are on our own. Why should we hang around with these people? Why don't we simply clean them out? So the more people that you keep winning on your side, the better. That's why it is important for us to keep talking, to keep engaging as we build the numbers. The problem I notice is people who give up and say, oh, this is an impossible task. There's nothing impossible under the sun. Nothing. It's only people who are in the path of achieving whatever they've said themselves. They're the ones who give up. It's not that there is failure, no. It's only when you give up. But if you are pursuing something which is right, and you don't give up, it may take time, but eventually you succeed. That's how it has been since creation. You have to wait as we're also working. The outcomes we'll see. I mean, like this MOU, we worked on it for quite a while, and it succeeded, and it's so signing. So if there is another success, we will see. But you see, as I've already indicated, success doesn't only have to be when you agree on 5 of the 5 things, if there are 5 things. You can even work on 1. For example, if you work on communications, and if there are, for example, where there are hostilities, there are cessation of hostilities. Where there are attacks and counterattacks among us on our side, you seize that. Why? Because you are looking at a larger objective. You are looking at the lives of people. But that's why we're in politics. So you subject your emotions, you subject whatever makes you do what you are doing on your side and say, that's the main objective. And it is worth restraining ourselves, whatever grievances we may have, whatever feelings you may have about someone else or about another entity. Why? Because the people and the mess in which this regime has put them, those who are in prisons, those who are dying, you are looking at that and saying you subject everything else to their setting them free from the bondages in which they are. That's the main thing. Once we are all focused on that, even if we work on one thing and succeed in it, that would be a big plus in our political processes. There's nothing up here. Actually, the main target is the presidency. Why do I say so? Right now, there's confusion in the country. Many of the old guard in NRM were eliminated in their primaries. And the interpretation is wrong. Because people say, oh, that's democracy. There are many members of parliament who have not made it back. But the members of parliament are not the problem. Any country to go down, it is the top. The bottleneck is at the top. I can tell you with all those new faces that come, I don't know what percentage they will be. Maybe 50%, maybe 60%. But check, last time 2021, new faces came. If you check, you may find that they were about 50, 60, 70%. Why did they not change anything? Because the top has not been changed. And that's the target. You knock out the top, and then you go in with a team of people who are like-minded, top, middle, lower level, to change the country and put it in the right direction. Nothing is going to change in this country until the top is eliminated. And we are focusing on that.
Thank you,
General. Kunoonya okubeera candidate w'ekibiina mbizizaayo olwaleero era electoral commission y'ekibiina egenda kuggalawo ennaku z'omwezi 27 n'olwekyo tujja kumanya candidate w'ekibiina by Monday. Era bwe tumala process eyaffe engeri gye twayingira mu mukago ne PFF ne tusayininga memorandum of understanding, tujja kulinda nga tumaze okufuna candidate owaffe. PFF naye ina processes zaayo ez'omunda ze bajja okumaliriza nabo ndowooza mu wiiki ng'emu oba awo bwe bamala tumalirize ensonga yaki ey'oku ntikko, ani anaakwata flag, anaabeera omu oba banaabeera babiri. Ffe tetulina tabu nakyo. Bw'abeera omu nga tukisiimira Katonda, ne bwabeera babiri nga tugenda mabega waabwe mu ngeri gye tuba nga tukoze ki nga tutegese. Ate mu mwezi guno gujja ogw'omunaana nga twagala tubeeko na candidate omu ku levels zonna, parliament, LC5, LC3, chairpersons ne councillors, mayors, eyo process naye nga tugenda kukola kujingiramu bwe tuba nga tumaze kati nga MOU twasayininga tugezaako okusinkana ekibiina ekirala another sister party NUP kubanga twali twagala okumaliza ekimu tukole ekyokubiri ekirungi ffena twali mu contact ne NUP PFF naffe separately kati jointly nga tujja kwogera nabo ekisinga okubuzaabuza abantu mu ggwanga balowooza nti muteekwa okukirizaganya ku buli kintu kyonna si bwe kityo bwe mukirizaganya ku bintu ebitaano bwe biba nga biri bitaano nga mukisiimira Katonda naye ne bwe mukirizaganya ku bibiri musobola okutambuza ebibiri ebisatu kasita muteekako entegeka okulaba nti temukontagana ku ebyo ebisatu bye mutakirizaganyizzaako buli kibiina nekibitambuza kinoomu ne mukolaganira ku bibiri tetulina tabbu ku ekyo era bwe tuba nga tusinkanye ne National Unity Platform tujja kulaba bimeka bye tunakolaganiramu awamu bwe kiba nga kisoboka okukolaganira awamu ku bya candidates nga tukolaganira nabo bwe kiba nga tekisobose si tabbu tusobola okukolaganira ku communications okulaba nti tekubaako okukubagana mu bibiina ebiri mu opposition ate nga essira tusaanide okuliteeka okugyawo gavumenti eno Gen Museveni ne NRM waliko n'ebyokukuuma obululu bwe muba nga muli bibiina bibiri bisatu oba bina n'osanga nti ebibiina ebibiri bye biina infrastructure mu kitundu ekimu basobola okukuuma akalulu k'ebibiina biri ebibiri ebitalinayo infrastructure bwe kiba ekibiina ekimu ebisatu oba ebibiri nga tebiinaayo ekimu nga kikola infrastructure eprotectingira ebibiri oba ebisatu kyekintu ekisaanidde okukolebwa era ensobe yabaawo emabega emirundi ng'esatu nga abaasinga obungi mu bukulembeze mu opposition nga baagala tukirizaganye ku buli kintu kyonna naye ffe abaali bagamba nti nedda tetuteekwa okukirizaganya ku buli kintu kyonna 100 ku buli 100 tusobola okukirizaganyako ebitono ne tutambulira ku ebyo naye nga tuli minority naye kati ndowooza kinaasoboka okukoleganira ku byonna Katonda bw'aba yagadde oba ebitono bwe kiba nga bwe kinaaba naye nga kisobola okukolebwa successfully y'endowooza yaffe kubanga tuteeka okukola ebintu mu ngeri y'ekikulu mu ngeri y'obuvunaanyizibwa lwaki abantu bafa baggwawo wansi eyo abatalya mmere okuyisa ku mulundi gumu olunaku ababbiddwa amataka tebalina recourse to justice ogenda mu poliisi oli akusinza ssente n'akugula ku poliisi n'ogenda mu kooti naye n'akugula oli awo ettaka lye balitwala ng'olaba oyo ali awo abamu ndowooza bajja kutandika n'okwetuga abantu omwana agenze mu yunivasite taata we yatunda akabanja oba maama we akabanja n'akatunda oba n'atunda ente takyayina omwana avuddeyo tafunye mulimu azzeeyo eka abo bali eyo abafa abatulugunyizibwa ebyo bintu bikulu ebisaanidde okutuleetera okukola ebintu mu ngeri y'ekikulu mu ngeri y'obuvunaanyizibwa okusobola okutaasa abantu mu ggwanga mpozi bwe tuba nga twagala tutandika okulaba abantu nga bakuyita kwewanika oba kukola ki ku komiti gy'amasannyalaze kwewanika mu Luganda bakiyita batya okwetugira ku komiti gy'amasannyalaze bwe tumala ekya NTPFF awo nga bwe tunakolagana n'ekibiina ekirala ekiddako kye tuli in contact nakyo era tulinze batuwe olunaku okwogera okugenda mu maaso nga twogera kubanga we were in contact twali nga tukolagana nabo naye nga tukyali separate kati kitegeeza nti tuba nga tuteesaganya nabo nga tuli joined awo bwe tukirizaganya ku bintu ebimu byonna oba ebimu tetulina problem kwekyo bwe tukirizaganya ku byonna alhamdulillah bwe tuba nga tetukkirizaganyizza ku byonna nga tukkirizaganyizza ku 2 ku 5 nga tukolaganira ku 2 ebisatu kasita tetukontagana ku ebyo. Wakati nti ne PFF kasooke tumalize kimu kino ekya nkugambye PFF eri process yaffe nawe eri mande tujja kuba nga tumaze okutegeera process yaffe ejja kuggwa tukolagane nabo. Naye problem eriwo, abantu balowooza nti bwe muba nga temulina presidential candidate omu nti problem. Nze siraba problem eri ku ekyo. Era ye ndowooza yange okuva emabega nangamba bwe tuba nga tulina 2 oba 3 tusobola okukolagana ku bintu ebirala nga tetukubaganye, kubanga abantu bo bulijjo they always rally around one anyway. Tolaba ate nga kuliko n'ekintu abasinga obungi kyebalabika nga tebalaba bulungi. Omanyi waliwo oluusi lw'osanga nti bwe mubeera ne candidate omu ng'osanga nti abantu bangi bajja kuva mu kalulu. Kati kankozesa example kya 2016 mu ndowooza yange singa twajjamu omuntu omu katugambe honorable Amama Mbabazi ntugamba oyo gwe tukulembezezza, bantu bangi abaali ku mabega wa Dr. Kizza Besigye naffe abaali mu FDC abatandisobodde kugenda wa Amama nga balina ensonga zaabwe politics bwezityo bwezibeera. Singa twayisaamu Dr. Kizza Besigye yekka, Mbabazi n'agenda mabega we, waliko abantu abatandize ku side yaffe kubanga waliyo ng'abo abaali bamuwagira abaali mu NRM ate oluusi nga batulaba ffe nga FDC ng'abalabe naye embeera egenda ekyuka. Ebyo nateekwa okubimeasuringa ebintu ebyo. Bw'osanga nti abantu abamu ne bomubeera na candidate omu waliko abatagende mabega we, oluusi musobola okusalamu consciously ne mugamba ekyomuntu omu katukireke katutambule n'abantu 2 oba 3 nga kiva mu ngeri gye musomyemu ki ground. Yes.
Kale Jeno Mugisha Muntu ensonga bwato bazirambise oliwo kyakujjako gino Museveni tufune eggwanga eddungi.